Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and this is part 3, the end of the whole show, or at least the end of this series, and we'll find out if we had success or failure. And sorry it's so long, but long jobs tend to make long videos, I guess. Alright, let's get on with the video. Unfortunately, everything I do doesn't turn out to be wonderful, and I discovered that my bucket would suck in at the sides if I managed to plug up the hose. So I made a couple of rings to go inside of it, and now I can plug the hose and it doesn't suck the thing in. It causes a couple of little wrinkles till I unplug the hose, but this looks like it's workable, and those rings are easily removed because I didn't fasten them down in any way. If it gets to be a problem, I'll fasten them down, but I don't think I need to. And another thing that didn't work out was the motor on the mill there. It was just, I had to put a battery charger on it so that it had enough power to lift the head up. Coming down was no problem, but going up was always a problem. And I got tired of that, so I took it off. And besides which, now that it's sitting down lower to the floor, I can actually easily reach that crank and crank it up and down. Sitting it down lower to the ground removed a lot of problems. So now we come to what I expect is going to be the hardest part. I need to make a mold to squirt the plastic into. The heating part I'll do with a couple of propane torches. So, you know, no more waiting for the oven to go. And well, you'll just have to follow along and see what my idea is here. It's going to be a three-piecer that fits all together. All three pieces go together to make the mold. Let's get started. And first off is to just sort of clean this up a little bit. This is the plug that I cut out of that circle. So you've seen it before. There's no use wasting parts of it if it's going to work out for you. Good enough? Okay, and now we move to the mill. Alright, so I'm going to make a 5-hole bolt circle in this thing, and the first thing we have to do is tell it we want to make a circle. And let's see, circle. Now, okay, I want to know the radius. So the radius of 1.1 inches is 0.55. 0.55. Enter that. The starting angle, I'm just going to tell it 0. The end angle, alright, let's see here, 365 divided by 5, 73 times 4, 292. Alright, and the number of holes, 5. Alright, it's ready to do number 1. And while you guys are fixing your coffee or whatever you're drinking, I'm gonna make a test run with it just to see if it really is what I want it to be, and then I'll come back. Okay, my sanity check showed that my sanity was the same as the rest of the world's sanity or reality or whatever. So I went and redid things, and you can see where I checked my holes, and they're going to come out pretty well right. So let's back up from there, and if you've seen this before, it's the same old stuff over again, and if you haven't, well, this is the new stuff. But anyway, I've set the thing, and it wants me to start on hole 1, and so I've got to crank the y-axis around. Gotta go this way. I get a 0 on it. There's 0. Take the X to 0. Now then, if the tenths column has got something in it, I don't normally worry much about that because I'm probably off more than that on where the actual center of the thing's at anyway. So we'll go ahead and make a hole right there. And so let's roll this guy down. Having trouble with my setup there. It seems that it's not tight enough, so I've got to do something about it to make it tight enough. I'll try to correct that and I'll be back. There's the new setup. That really should hold it solid. And yes, I've got an end mill in the drill chuck just simply because I don't have an end mill long enough to reach any other way. So I think it'll be alright. We're just drilling a hole. We're not going to mill anything. It should be okay. I had to take a long break there, not just for that, but the wife wanted me to move the plastic fence for the dog. I had to go put a bunch of little metal fence posts in the ground and drag the stuff around. So it's been a while. Alright, so anyway, it says for hole number 1. And so we're going to try to move the little bugger over to hole number 1. We're going to 0 it out. That's how you line up for all the holes, is you just take this thing to 0, which is I'm sure most everybody knows that's seen me do the little tutorial on how to do a bolt hole circle with the DRO. Anyway, that should be 0 for hole number 1. It matches my sanity check I did earlier, and so we'll look over here and we're going to make a hole right where we started to make a hole before, and it seems like it's working. I'm going to double check that too. Yeah, it's okay. That may be about the right depth, so I'm going to go check and be right back. I'm back. I'm getting all the general dimensions by measuring this factory made knob. So I'm trying to get in the general neighborhood because I figure they made it relatively proportional. Okay, I took the Z-axis down to 0.350. We're going to rinse and repeat that with each hole. Alright, so now I can advance it to hole 2. Hole 2 wants me to do a lot of moving here. Let's see. Might have missed that by a couple of thousandths. Hole number 5. Alright, last hole. And there's the holes. And I'm sure by now somebody's thought to ask what do I want with the holes. I'm going to cut out a cavity in here, but I'm going to leave half of each hole. And that'll be a little knob sticking out on the knob. You know, a little protuberance to increase your grip. Mainly because I don't want to go to all the trouble of cutting little bitty knurls or anything. So now it's back to the lathe. Okay, now the mill's cleaned up. I cut over here to see if I can start on this hole. I may give up and call it a day before I get through. My back's tired already. That's not good. I'm going to have to put an indicator on there and make that go straight. That's not good at all. So this is all of your part of it for the day. I'm going to indicate that straight, and then I'm going to call it a day. Well, after a bit to eat, I feel rejuvenated and the back's not so bad. So, whoa. That switch on the reverse isn't totally on it. It doesn't run. And we want to wipe off that mark. Put our own mark on there. There. There we go. That should help. No, not to clean off all of that black mark. Bash it down and we'll let it tar clean itself. Very good. I'm going to pull it. Alright, that ought to be deep enough. Now I've got to make a little pocket in there for the next piece to fit in. So I guess the best thing to do is just to get after it, you know. I'll turn the camera off right now until I figure out just exactly how big I want that next piece to be, and I'll be right back. The next step is to make a little pocket to put the inner piece into. I almost forgot about you guys here. I got to show you on this. That'll do that job. Now we need a hole in it. I've got to see how big the hole to tap that for a number 6 millimeter bolt, so hang on. It says on the tap use a 13/64 drill bit. I guess you know who doesn't have one, but I've got one that's about 5 thousandths away from the number 7. Okay, that's threaded. I believe that's threaded far enough. Alright, now I've got to part the thing off and turn it around. So, get my drill bit up. It occurred to me that I don't know who's likely to watch the video. Maybe this is the first time you ever saw a lathe. So I'll part it off on camera. That's hot. Doesn't take me long to look at a piece of hot metal. Alright, I got to turn all this around. I'll bring you guys back shortly. Look at the smooth cut my bandsaw made. That's a Harbor Freight tool that I believe is really worth the money. And it's that bandsaw. What we're going to do, I turned the 3-jaw chuck around. I don't know if that was the right thing to do, but that's what I did. And I'm going to try to use it to straighten things up. There we go. Move that out some more. This thing is not totally square. I'm not sure which side is the most square one. Alright, that's for decoration. So, get it out of there. I'm going to have to deburr it out here. This guy sits on top. This guy sits on top of there and squirts the juice in. Starts to make sense. Okay, I said all we need to do is make one more piece and we'd be ready, but I was wrong. I've got to make a little stand for it and put the springs on it so it bounces up and down. So I'll be back. Well, here we go with who knows what. I've got this thing that I stuck together like this. I did it off camera because I was kind of in a hurry there. I've been interrupted 2 days in a row with having to take care of honeydews, so I thought if I'm ever going to get finished, I need to just not worry about the camera and get on with it. As you can see, this piece has got a little ledge to hold that in there, and this guy's going to go on here, and when I press down the piston, this pile of springs should bring it back up to me. At least that's what I'm telling myself. And I've got it sitting on a wad of paper towel there, to close the hole in the bottom until I'm ready to use it. You know, I don't want nothing coming out of there until I'm ready for it to. So this thing will go about 2.5 inches down, which means I'm going to have a pretty good pile of plastic before I get started doing anything. And I guess set it on here and give you a demonstration. Just a little there. And if this is valve's closed. Now this is definitely a Rube Goldberg kind of thing, as you can tell. I've got to get it lined up here just right. And it's going to be kind of a mess to control because it's going to be hot and all that sort of thing. But with any luck, everything will work out all right. All right, there it goes, going down the tube. And I can squish the plastic down pretty good with that. And when I get ready to actually mold something, I can make the plastic come on out of there. But this, that's the little piston go in there. About 2.5 inches by the time the springs are all squeezed down good and tight. And I've tried it a couple of times, and because the piston's long, it tries to align itself pretty good, and all this stuff is relatively square and straight. So that's got the piston all the way to the bottom, and the paper is still tight, maybe a little too tight, but nevertheless the paper is tight. Alright, let's let it back up. Okay. I'm going to take this off of there. I put a couple of grooves on there for O-rings in case the plastic starts to squish out past the piston. This is all experimental. So we don't know what's going to work and what's not. And here's the bucket lid from my first cyclone separator. And I've chopped it up into little tiny pieces in the hopes that you get a whole lot of it in there the first time around. And that right there is probably about right. So if you guys will excuse me, I will go and get a propane torch, and I'll come back and warm that sucker up. Alright, I haven't had the torch on in about 2 minutes, and the plastic is sinking down in there all on its own. My Harbor Freight temperature sensor doesn't do good on shiny silvery things, which I should have thought about. So I'm not sure how warm it is down in there. It's going to be hard to tell. I'm just going to have to go with how much melting I get here. And it's melting down pretty good. I'll hold this off for a second to show you. You can see down in there, that's starting to sink down from because it's melting. Alright, camera moving again. Alright, so more heat. It must be melting it pretty good because it's really sinking down in there. And this may be too hot, I don't know. Like I say, I don't get a good shiny surface reading with that little fella. Well, that went out. Throw some more crumbs in there. stuff's melting down pretty good, so it must be downright hot. That's all I can say. You can see it sinking in. So I guess I may be nearing the point where I can ram that thing down once and see if it squeezes the plastic down pretty good. A couple little pieces are still kind of high there. Okay. Probably something I should be doing with gloves on. That sucker's hot. I'm going to get some gloves. Well, I couldn't find the gloves. I think they're in the back of the pickup in the little compartment. Famous last words. Well, we're going to try. Here we go. I don't know how far I should squeeze that down. I'll be in there a couple of inches now. If there was any air in it, I bet that squeezed it out. So let's let it up. Move it out of the way. Piston came up pretty clean, and it shoved the stuff down in there pretty far. So I'm going to keep on like this for a couple more. Okay, here we go with the big attempt. I don't know how it's going to come out. I've got to squeeze the plastic in that little hole right there, and you can see it's a small hole. So I get things lined up right. Ouch! Oh, that's hot. Okay, I gotta let her go. That's too hot. Whoa! The pans are not laid good enough yet, are they? That's downright hot. Okay. What I've got to do is I've got to get this guy under this guy, and reliably enough that I can squeeze some plastic out of there, but I got to get something to keep from burning up my hands. Okay, Chris B257, Rob from Xanadu. You two guys have got fertile minds and machine tools. Work this thing out for me. Pretty sure either one of you guys is going to come up with the right way to do it. And it'll be a lot better than what I'm doing. Then I can copy you. All right, move it over a little. I'm missing it just the tiniest little bit here. Oh, that's hot. That just some hot. I don't know why the paper makes it feel so much better, but it does. All right. Now then, all I've got to do is, this is not going well at all. But then we didn't figure that it was going to be any picnic. Whew! That burn it. I'm going to find the other piece under the truck. It's hot and slick. I wonder, I could just pop that in there and just shove it on down without the ring, and maybe I can get it right on top of the right spot there. Oh, so let's pick up all the junk I dropped in the floor. Okay, we're going to try again. This may work out. If I can adjust this quick enough. I needed a regular framework to hold it, and probably instead of using this press I should have had a long lever. Huh? That's what, no doubt what I needed, but that's not what I've got, so, ouch, that is hot everywhere around here. It's hot right now. I don't even have my readers on. Let's give it a shot. All right. It's great that it stays so hot so long, so it'll give me a chance to fumble around. All right. Let's be very near dead on it. Close, anyway. I needed something to guide that thing to make sure that it's in the right spot. I think that it's pretty near in the right spot. But thinking and knowing is two things. Feels like the stuff's going though. At least the pressure feels like it's decreasing. Next time around, this whole thing will be better contained. Well, I don't know. It's got to be going somewhere, I guess. Maybe. Or else I'm just bending that aluminum. Be doing that too. Well, I didn't see anything squirt out anywhere, but we got to let it up and find out what's happening. wanting to hold on to my metal. There's plastic on the hole. Ah, there's plastic in there, of course. We knew that. Well, I don't know what to think. I guess we can take that apart. Let me turn this over so to make sure we're in the camera. And there it is. By golly, when it cools off, we may have a knob. It's filled in all the stuff. All right, so we'll just set this stuff down. I'll clean up and let things cool for a while, and then we'll see what we got. Be a lot cooler by the time I get through cleaning up, and I'll dump it in a little water along with that. I'll be back shortly. Well, if you look at this, you can see that my first O-ring groove there became a plastic filled groove, and it's stuck to the bottom of the piston some, and the threaded holes got plastic in it, so there will be cross contamination of colors if I do other colors. I wanted red, but that bright orange is all I could get. Okay, so let's set this down. I know what you're wanting to see. I've got this plastic container that's weird enough looking. It could be an official scientific instrument. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy, we're going to drop it in there, and hopefully that will cool it off. I hope. And at least it's cool enough I can touch it now. So what's it going to do when I pull it out of there? I'm going to turn off the camera for a couple of minutes and let it sit there in that cool water for 4 or 5 minutes, just to make sure that, you know, we really get it cooled off. Okay, as you can see, there's still enough plastic in there for probably 20 or 30 more knobs, or some came out a little bit out of the bottom. This guy is still hot as a pistol, but I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna have to make a little rack where I can set this on it and squeeze it with a lever instead of using this thing, because I don't know how much pressure I'm putting up with that press, and I probably don't need 12 tons. So lay that back down. And it'd be nice if I knew the temperature. I'm gonna have to find a better way of judging the temperature than that little infrared gun, because I already knew from trying to measure lead the last time I cast any aluminum that it just won't give an accurate reading on a shiny surface. So, alright, you ready? Hopefully that was long enough to cool everything down. Well, I hope it's going to come back apart. We may have to move over to the workbench where I can lay this on something and kind of whack on it a little bit. Let's move the camera in there. Okay, at least we've got a little hammer to peck on things, and so let's see if I can just knock it back out of there. I think it's coming. There we go. I got that part out. Now let's see if I can remove this other part. Let's see. That little booger there is still hot. But at least this part's cool. I think, no, it's not unscrewing. That's my hand slipping. I don't want to ding it all up, but I got to get a grip some way. Let's see if I can use this guy. I think it's coming out. I don't know if it's going to be right or wrong, but it's coming out. Alright, failure. See this little guy here, he was supposed to have plastic all the way to the bottom. Didn't have any plastic in him at all. Here's what we've got. We've got a knob that's there, and I'm sure it would work as a knob, but it was supposed to have a little plastic extension for about 1/4 of an inch out the bottom of it here. So maybe I didn't have enough room for it to flow into here, or maybe I should have given it a couple more squeezes, because it stopped before it ever filled the thing up. Oh well, let's see if I can beautify this little piece right here. There we go. At least it's a knob, and I had made some little circles in the top of that thing in the hope of it being decoration, and it doesn't look decorated, so maybe the next top I make will be domed over so I can have a round top on the thing and get plastic all the way down, you know, down about that far. And I'll also know how much to cut off of these guys before I ever get started. But I guess, like I say, it'd work right now. It's in there tight, so partial success. Well, folks, if you like that and you'd like to see some more, well, subscribe and click the thumbs up, and you know, leave a comment, good or bad, I don't care. I can delete the ones I don't like. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye. Whoa, those two big pieces, those two cylinders are still, cylinder and the flat piece are still hotter than a pistol, and it's been 10 or 15 minutes. No hand touching yet.